So tomorrow we're setting off on a 6-month adventure through 3 different continents and 13 countries with our 2 toddlers, all while living out of these bags. If you're new here, hi, my name is Samantha, and my little family and I have been travelling around Australia for the past 2.5 years. Most of our travels have been around Australia, but we have also stepped into Japan and a few different countries in Europe last year. After backpacking through 43 countries, I got pretty used to living out of small bags, but having little kids makes things a little bit trickier. So in today's video, I'll be showing you exactly what we packed for a 6-month trip through all the different seasons. Honestly, it's been a challenge for me to pack for this trip, and I'm really surprised that we've managed to fit it all in, because we're going to be going from the snow season in New Zealand, and then we're stopping over in Singapore where we're going to be so hot and humid. So let's get into the packing. First, I'm going to take you through our suitcases. We've chosen medium-sized suitcases based off of past experience with the large ones on our last Europe trip. The large suitcase was so heavy and so hard to fit in the back of our hire car. It was also really hard to get it up the stairs of some of our Airbnbs, because if you have been to Europe, you'll know that a lot of the apartments you stay in will be on the 4th floor and there's usually no lift access. So I felt very bad for Tom. So with that said, we've got 4 medium suitcases, but the first one I'm going to show you is completely full of winter and snow gear for our first 3 weeks in New Zealand. This bag has our snow boots, ski pants, gloves, scarves, winter socks, pretty much everything that we're going to need for our New Zealand trip. We're really hoping that we can ditch this bag once we've finished our New Zealand trip, because we're not going to need all of this stuff for the rest of our travels through Singapore and Europe. And it would be a lot to just lug this bag around for no reason. Now let's take you through the 3 medium suitcases that we will be living out of for the whole trip. This one I like to call our random bag, or our not needed so often bag. It has the girls' cloud sleepers and a cot sheet each, which fit over the cloud sleeper really well. A lot of the Airbnbs that we've chosen have beds for the girls, so we might not need to use these very often, but I always like to bring them just in case. Especially because a lot of the Airbnb beds for the children are going to be a sofa bed, and I just prefer to put out the cloud sleepers instead, so that we can use the lounge as a lounge and not have it set up as a bed. Just gives us a little bit more space for living while we're there. Callie, our youngest, actually still sleeps with a safety rail on her bed in the caravan, and that's because she's on the top bunk, so we need it so she doesn't fall out of the bed. But I'm a little bit concerned to see how she's going to go with full access to the room. I'm probably going to be putting her back in her bed a lot, but the good thing about these cloud sleepers is that they're so low that if they fall on the ground, they're not going to get hurt. On our last trip to Europe, we did take a travel cot and it was really good, but I'm so glad that Callie's gotten to the age now where we don't need this travel cot, because honestly it gets a bit annoying having to lug this huge travel cot around with you everywhere. It was just a bit of a hassle, so I'm just really glad we don't have to do it anymore. Hopefully. We will see how Callie sleeps. I've also got some colouring books and activities in this side for the girls on our second flight, because it's 11 hours flying from Christchurch to Singapore during the day. And down the bottom are their light sleep sacks. These ones aren't used very often since we generally sleep in air conditioning, but I've bought them just for peace of mind since we'll be in Europe in summer and a lot of places might not have aircon. Now this side is absolutely bulging at the zip. I managed to squeeze the baby carrier in here. It usually is being used though when we fly, so it won't be in here that much. But I highly recommend bringing a baby carrier if your child is young enough to fit in one. It's really handy in those times when you can't use a pram, so for hiking or bushwalks and stuff like that. We also use the baby carrier to get Callie to sleep if she's overtired and needing a nap. This brown bag is coming purely for our girls' birthdays. They're both celebrating their 3rd and 5th birthdays while overseas, so I've got some balloons, decorations, cards, and some small gifts from family. This bag is full of Lego Duplo that the girls love to play with, and then I've got their Crocs if we are walking in wet weather to avoid the sand shoes getting wet. While we're talking about their sand shoes actually, I just want to quickly mention toddler safety. Our last trip to Europe we had some concerns for losing the kids in busy places, and we had nothing in the way of keeping them safe for this situation. It was just very overwhelming for me to think about all that. So this trip I actually have got some iron-on labels that I'm going to stick on all of their shirts and pants and jumpers and stuff like that. So I've managed to fit on their full name, so their first and last name. I've also put my phone number on there with the country code, so if they do happen to get lost, which really hope that doesn't happen, but if it was to happen, at least I would know that their name and my phone number and the Australia code is on their shirt or pants or jumper, and at least this way they can be identified. And then I've also actually done a bit of a sneaky. I got their sand shoes, I cut the tongue open of their sand shoe, and I popped a little Apple AirTag inside and I stitched it back up. I think this is pretty smart because nobody's going to think to look inside the tongue of a shoe, and I know that you can get the wristbands and stuff off of Amazon for these Apple AirTags, but I just know that in reality I would probably either forget to put it on or the kids wouldn't want to wear it. So I just found this was easier, and at the end of the day I'll at least have peace of mind knowing that if they were suddenly taken from me while we're at a market, I can track them down and I can find them. Again, I'm hoping this doesn't happen, but I am prepared if it does. But anyway, let's get back to the packing. I've also got some wipes, 3 umbrellas, and a first aid kit. Now inside my first aid kit I've got moisturizing cream, antiseptic cream, sunscreen, eczema cream, Nurofen and Panadol for adults and kids, travel sickness tablets for kids, Imodium, backup iron tablets because knowing me, I'll become iron deficient at some point in this trip. Then I've got band-aids, butterfly strips, throat lozenges, a thermometer, and Mozzie-Bite cream. When packing a first aid kit, just think of all the things you use while you're at home, and then also just think about the things that you would wish that you had if someone was to get sick or hurt while traveling. Of course, you're going to find pharmacies most of the places you travel to, but I just like to have these things on hand so that if someone gets sick or hurt during the night, I can help them sooner. And this little toiletries bag is really good for keeping it all contained. The next bag is mine and Tom's. We have these compression packing cubes that I found on Temu and they've been so good. You just put your clothes in while it's big and then you do up the compression zippers and it makes it a fair bit smaller. We've actually never used these, and after a while your clothes kind of end up all over the place and it's really hard to repack everything to fit well. So I think these packing cubes are going to make it a lot easier. So for myself, I have 2 packing cubes. One is for my socks, underwear, and swimmers. I generally try to pack 2 bras, 3 socks, 1 swimwear, and as many underwear that will fit as possible. We make sure that we take some laundry sheets from Lucent Globe and we use those to wash every 3 or 4 days while we're traveling. In my bigger packing cube, I managed to fit all my other clothes, which is quite surprising to me. I've got 2 outfits for hot weather, so a light summer dress and a linen set. Then I've got 2 shirts, 2 long sleeve shirts, 1 pair of bike shorts, 1 pair of thick leggings from Lorna Jane, which are so cozy, long baggy pants, and then I'm going to wear 1 more outfit tomorrow, which will be just jeans, a t-shirt, and a jumper. I have no idea if this is the right stuff that I'll need, but I actually put our whole itinerary into ChatGPT, and I pretty much just asked it what should we expect in terms of weather and temperature, and it gave me a whole list of each place with the temperature that I'm expecting to have then. So if you are going for a long trip, maybe try putting your itinerary into ChatGPT and asking it a few questions. And if I haven't packed the right stuff, I can always buy something while we're overseas. I should also add that these are not the clothes that I'll be wearing while in New Zealand. I've got a few extra pants and shirts and thermals and things like that in the winter bag, which is the first suitcase that I showed you. Next up in my side, I've got a heat pack because I'm an old lady with pain problems, and then we've got mine and Tom's hats. Then in this cute little bag, I've got our family's allergens and probiotics. If you haven't heard yet, my husband and both daughters have anaphylactic allergies, and this is to nuts and dairy, things like that. It's a whole thing. And then our second daughter, Callie, she actually has really bad gut health, which makes her intolerant to almost all the foods that we try to give her. So this bag contains their probiotics, prebiotics, allergens, gut stuff, and whatever else we need to improve these issues. If you have any questions about how we travel with food allergies and intolerances, just hit a comment below and I'll be able to reply to you there. The other half of this bag is Tom's side, and he has pretty much the same as me, minus the bras and the dresses. I've also managed to fit our puffer jackets in his side too. Now in our third bag, we've got the girls' clothes in one side and the rest of all our random things in the other. For the girls, I've got their thick sleep sacks that they usually sleep in every night. Also, yes, I know we could just use blankets or sheets for them to save on packing, but I would be then getting up multiple times in the night to put their blanket back on. So these are just so much easier, and the girls think they're really comfy. Mine and Tom's laptops will likely go in here because it's nice and soft for them to hopefully not get damaged. We also bought these padded sleeves for our laptops to travel in, which should keep them protected as well. Mila and Callie have the same packed in terms of clothing. I've gone with 2 jumpers, 4 long sleeve shirts, 4 long pants, 2 summer outfits, a skirt, underwear for Mila, and 3 socks each. Under this I've got their togs and 1 towel for us all to share if we ever need to, and then their bedtime reading books. I chose these books based on weight and thickness. I only took 2 books last time and I got so sick of reading them every night, so this time I'm bringing more just to mix it up a bit. In the other side I've put 2 of my knit jumpers, then we have the girls' toiletries, which is mostly just hair accessories. Then we have our electronics bag, which holds all of our chargers, power adapters, and all of our techie stuff. I've got an extra hard drive for my videos in case my current one fills up, and then we've got a bag full of our shampoo, conditioner, bars of soap, Tom's shaver, and Callie's creams. Then in this bag we have the rest of the toiletries, which is pretty much all of mine and Tom's. Things like toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, earbuds, nail clippers, face wash, all of that stuff goes in here. So that's all of our bigger bags that we'll be living out of for the trip, but that's not all we're taking. We've also got 4 more bags and a travel pram. This little bag is for Callie or Mila to carry. hopefully. It is so cute, and they managed to fit a bunch of their favourite little toys in here. Then we have a cooler bag, which we have to bring because I always need to cook meals for Callie since she can't eat out at restaurants or grab just anything from the store. It has a few containers for her food when I cook for her, and we'll also pack some cooler bricks in here too. Then we have this handy bag that goes over the handle of your suitcase, and it's mostly plain stuff. In the bottom we managed to fit a whole bag of nappies. Then we have it full of the girls' things like iPads, headphones, stickers, books, and then tissues and antibacterial wipes when we sit down on the plane. I also have our mini drone in here because I have a spare battery, and I'm not sure if this is allowed to go in the checked baggage, so I'll have to check with the airport staff when we arrive tomorrow. And then our last bag is our nappy bag. It's got everything we need for the girls, like water bottles, hats, creams, stickers, medicine, just so much random stuff really, but it comes with me everywhere, so I couldn't imagine not bringing this bag with me. I'll also be putting our passports and international driver permit in this bag because it's always on us and it's the least likely to get stolen. Then there's the travel pram, and this thing is great. We've had it for 2.5 years now, and it's still in such good condition considering it's been through multiple countries, several flights, down a bunch of stairs, and been taking over some questionable paths. We love this pram, and it folds up small enough to be able to go in the overhead compartment on flights, which we just love because it means we don't have to wait for our pram to come out with the checked baggage. And that's it, guys. That's everything that we'll be taking on our 6-month trip through New Zealand, Singapore, and our road trip from the Baltics to the Balkans. I really hope that this video has helped you to pack for your trip a little easier, or at least just given you a good laugh because we are crazy enough to do this. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below, and if you want to see what we get up to next week in New Zealand, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you then. Thanks so much for watching, guys.